The Waste Land is a poem published by T.S. Eliot in 1922 and is considered one of the most famous literary works of the 20th century. This poem is a spiritual and social reflection on society after the Great World War. Through modernist and experimental literature and employing free verse, he portrays an image of an exhausted and hypocritical civilization, although from a very pessimistic perspective. In that epoch, there was a sense of despair, as the world had undergone a series of catastrophic events that led to the biggest one, the Great World War. The society portrayed by Joyce and Eliot is bunched in a state of chaos, and there is a lack of faith, although Eliot's portrayal of society is dead in life. This author portrays a mutable world that underwent several changes and catastrophes. Modernists wanted to portray a new world and wanted to escape from the depths of the present and create a path to the future. However, we can see that this differs from Auden's determinism focus
on the present and fight. They defended the idea that everything was relative and, unlike romantics, praised technology over nature. As previously mentioned, we can see that through the form of the poem, Eliot represents the chaotic and polarized reality. We can see that he uses different languages in the wasteland, Greek to represent the old and French to represent the new, among other languages like German. We can see, therefore, linguistic elitism in the poem used to convey social plurality or cultural diversity, as well as to represent the chaos caused by fragmentation. In addition, Eliot employs free verse to imply spontaneity, and the lack of a traditional, consisting form is used to represent this epoch's fragmented and disordered life. Furthermore, Eliot uses cultural allusions and multiple voices to create a sense of fragmentation and confusion in the reader, to show the alienation that ruled society at that time. Bin gar kein Russin, stam aus Litauen, echt Deutsch. We can see how he represents in German the conflict between these polarized civilizations that aim to conquer the world, and when we were children, staying at the Archduke's, my cousin's, he took me out on a sled, and I was frightened. He said, Marie, Marie, hold on tight. And down we went in the mountains, there you feel free. I read, much of the night, and go south in the winter. Moreover, the author employs a different range of allusions to create a sense of discontinuity in the linearity of time and to imply that alienation in this era was a universal feeling. I will analyze some of the different allusions that the author makes to Arthurian legends, Greek mythology, or French symbolism. As we can see at the beginning, Eliot portrays a dead society. April is the cruelest month, breeding lilacs out of the dead land, mixing memory and desire, and stirring dull roots with spring rain. The dead land represents the dead civilization after the Great World War and refers to spiritual, cultural, and social death. This society was stagnant in the depths of the present, and occasionally, when it metaphorically rained, distant and fragmented memories of the past were revealed. The author mentions that these revelations are a mixture of his crude memory and desire. Whenever he focuses on the lilacs, his desires, dreams and goals, a vision of the harsh reality and hard memories come together to his mind. Apart from that, Eliot mentions that winter kept us warm, covering earth in forgetful snow, feeding a little life with dried tubers. Through reversing temperature sensations, the author tries to create an atmosphere of chaos, turning reality upside down. However, I believe that the snow could be a metaphor for drugs, as soldiers used them to be active or to feel relief. The warm sensation could refer to the relief sensation of soldiers after taking drugs like opium, which made them forget the past, forgetful snow. We can see in the first section of the poem that the author employs different year stations, such as winter, summer, or spring, to play with the sense of time and to depict other aspects of a harsh reality. As we have seen, he wants to represent the chaotic reality of that epoch, and for this purpose, he reverses the temperature sensations. In the following verses, we can see that the author depicts a feeling of despair. He is unable to escape from the oppressing sun, which could either represent nihilism, spiritual emptiness, or the pain caused by the tragic memories of the past. Son of man, you cannot say, or guess. For you know only a heap of broken images, where the sun beats, and the dead tree gives no shelter, the cricket no relief, and the dry stone no sound of water. As previously mentioned, that a heap of broken images refers to the fact that the past is fragmented and that we cannot retrieve the whole picture but isolated images instead. we can see that the only shadow left is under a red rock. He might have wanted to represent the propaganda and lies told by extreme wing parties, a guarantee of relief that will never arrive, as the color red symbolizes passion as well as death, like nationalism. Only there is shadow under this red rock. Come in under the shadow of this red rock. We can see that the red rock is a reference to Isaiah 32.2 and refers to the fact that a righteous king has to be like the shadow of a red rock. The righteous king refers to a better, global, spiritual, social and political future that seems distant and almost unreachable. Society seems to grow old and never die, which causes interminable agony, as the old has to die to let the new grow. Moreover, we can see how mythical practices merge to create something new. We have references to the Fisher King, which refers to the state of King Arthur dying. Therefore, we can see the mythical method through Arthurian references that the king has to die and that old traditions must die. Moreover, there is a quote in Greek at the beginning of the poem where he refers to Sibyl, the prophetic old woman of Greek mythology. Through this quote, we can see how Eliot employs the mythical method to convey the idea that society must leave the old values behind and fight to create a path towards the future. As we can see, modernist literature is elitist and a traditional background in literature is required to understand the references. Furthermore, the reference to the horoscope could be a critique of those who believe in destiny, or are too desperate, and do not work to build a path towards the future, but instead are desperate to believe in something, which back in those days and nowadays has arisen the extremist political parties. Moreover, in the past, death by water was used to imply dihedron, however, in this context is used to imply death from thirst. The author might refer to the lack of spirituality and religion, as it long ago stopped answering the most fundamental questions and explaining reality. However, I believe that Mrs. Equitone could also symbolize, satirically, hegemonic institutions like the government, religious institutions, or the press, as the author distrusts the horoscope. If you see dear Mrs. Equitone, tell her I bring the horoscope myself. One must be so careful these days.